Right now, if you pressed on the front of your shin, would it leave a small dent that takes a few seconds to disappear? That single test is one of the fastest ways to catch something that affects 1 in 20 adults, and after 50, the risk climbs every single year. Chronic venous insufficiency, a fancy name for veins that have quietly stopped pushing blood back up to your heart the way they used to. Everyone talks about your heart, your blood pressure, your cholesterol. Almost nobody tells you that you actually have a second pump sitting right below your knee in your calf muscle. And when it goes quiet, your legs are the first place that shows it. Heavy by the afternoon, swollen by dinner, sock marks that don't fade for an hour. In the next few minutes, I'm giving you 2 30-second self-checks to find out exactly where you stand today. The real reason one muscle in your calf carries this much weight. Literally, and then 6 exercises, not 3, not a vague list. Stay for all 6, because the one most people skip is also the one the research says matters most. Welcome to Well Past 50, where we don't fear getting older, we get stronger about it. Quick promise, same as always. I'm not a doctor, I don't play one on this channel, and everything you're about to hear comes from real medical sources. Cleveland Clinic, peer-reviewed vascular research, the same data physical therapists and cardiologists use, every one of them linked in the description so you can check it yourself. Here's the shape of today. First, 2 quick self-checks right now so you know where your circulation actually stands instead of guessing. Then the mechanism, why one muscle in your lower leg gets called your second heart, and why researchers have linked how well it works to how long people live, not just how their legs feel by evening. And then the main event, 6 exercises that train that second heart, built into one simple weekly routine, plus the one habit that matters more than any single exercise on the list. If your legs have felt heavier than they used to, this is the video. Subscribe now. Twice a week, always real sources, never fear. Let's start with 2 self-checks, 30 seconds each, no equipment. Test 1, the end of day symptom check. Tonight, before bed, ask yourself 4 honest questions. Are your ankles or lower legs visibly more swollen than they were this morning? Do your legs feel achy, tired, or full by the end of the day, even without a hard workout? When you take your socks off, is there a dented ring left behind from the elastic that takes more than a minute or 2 to fade? And have you had leg cramps at night more than once or twice this month? These 4 signs: a swelling, that heavy or achy feeling, sock marks, and night cramps, are the exact symptoms Cleveland Clinic lists for chronic venous insufficiency, the medical term for veins that have stopped moving blood efficiently back to your heart. If you said yes to 1, that's worth paying attention to. 2 or more, and the exercises in this video aren't optional extra credit. They're the actual first-line response clinicians recommend, alongside a conversation with your doctor if it doesn't improve. Test 2, and this one's quick. Press firmly on your shin right above your ankle bone for about 5 seconds, then let go and watch the color come back. In healthy circulation, the pale mark from your finger should refill with color in about 2 to 3 seconds. That's the normal range clinicians use when checking blood flow reaching the surface of your skin. If it takes noticeably longer, that's a second data point, not a diagnosis, but a reason to take the next 10 minutes seriously. One honest distinction, because I promised you real information, not oversimplified information. Test 1 is about your veins, the one-way system carrying blood back up to your heart. Test 2 is a broader check on blood actually reaching your skin. They're related, not identical, and together they give you a far better picture than either one alone, which is already more than most videos on this topic bother to give you. Write down what you found on both, because at the 2-week mark, I'm going to ask you to run them again, and the comparison between your own two numbers is the only a score that actually matters here. So why does one calf muscle get this much credit? Here's the mechanism, and it's genuinely elegant. Your heart pumps blood down to your feet without much help. Gravity does most of that work for you. Getting it back up against gravity through the thin veins in your legs is a much harder job, and your heart alone isn't built to do that efficiently from all the way down there. That's where your calf steps in. Every time you contract your calf muscle, walking, standing on your toes, even just flexing your foot, it squeezes the deep veins running through it like a fist squeezing a tube. And one-way valves inside those veins make sure the blood that gets pushed only goes one direction, up toward your heart. Cardiologists at Mayo Clinic have a name for this that's stuck for a reason. They call it your second heart, because functionally, that's exactly what it is, a second pump, doing a job your actual heart can't do well on its own. Here's why that matters more than it sounds like it should. When that second heart goes quiet, and it goes quiet from sitting, from standing still without moving, from simply not using your calf through its full range, blood pools in your lower legs instead of cycling back up. Over time, that's exactly the mechanism behind chronic venous insufficiency, which Cleveland Clinic notes usually shows up after age 50, affects roughly 1 in 20 adults overall, and gets more common with every decade after that. And it's not just about how your legs feel at the end of the day. A study published in the journal Vascular Medicine measured calf muscle pump function directly, how well that second heart was actually working, and found it predicted all-cause mortality. People whose calf pump function was weaker were more likely to die from any cause during the study period, regardless of whether their legs looked fine on the outside. That's not a small connection. That's a muscle you've probably never once trained on purpose, quietly tied to how long you live. The good news buried in all of that, unlike a lot of things that decline with age, this one is almost entirely mechanical, which means it's almost entirely trainable. You don't fix a quiet second heart with a supplement or a cream. You fix it by making that muscle contract on purpose often enough, which is exactly what we're doing next. Here's the protocol: 6 exercises, not 3, because your second heart responds to more than one type of movement, and because you deserve something more complete than a quick list with an unverified percentage attached to it. You need almost nothing: a sturdy chair, a wall or countertop, and about 8 to 10 minutes. Exercise 1, seated ankle pumps. Sit tall and simply point your toes away from you, then pull them back up toward your shins as far as comfortably possible each direction. That's 1 pump. Do 20 at a steady pace, not rushed. This is the single most researched exercise on this list. Clinical reviews of ankle pump exercises show they measurably improve venous outflow and reduce swelling, and hospitals actually prescribe this exact movement to patients on bed rest specifically to keep blood moving in the legs. If you do only one thing from this video every time you've been sitting more than 30 minutes, this is it. Exercise 2, calf raises, standing behind a chair or at the counter for balance. Rise up onto your toes, pause for a second at the top, then lower down slowly over about 3 seconds. 10 to 15 reps, 2 sets. This is the most direct way to fire your actual second heart. The calf muscle contracting through its full range, squeezing those deep veins exactly the way it's designed to. If standing feels unsteady, do the exact same movement seated, pressing firmly through the balls of your feet instead. Exercise 3, heel-toe rocks, or a slow march in place if you'd rather move a little more. Rock your weight from your heels to your toes and back, or lift your knees gently for 1 to 2 minutes. This one's here for a specific reason. It's rhythmic and low impact enough to do any time you catch yourself standing still, like in a kitchen line or during a phone call, which matters because standing still without moving is one of the specific risk factors Cleveland Clinic lists for this exact problem. Exercise 4, seated leg extensions. Sitting tall, straighten one leg out until your knee is fully extended. Hold for 2 seconds, then lower with control. 10 reps each leg. This brings your quadriceps into the picture, supporting circulation further up the leg and building the kind of a strength that keeps you moving well beyond just your calves. Exercise 5, the calf stretch. Hands on a wall, 1 foot back with the heel pressed into the floor, gently leaning forward until you feel a stretch through the back of your lower leg. Hold 20 to 30 seconds each side. This is the one almost every circulation video skips entirely, and it matters because a tight, shortened calf muscle can't contract through its full range. You'd be asking a stiff pump to do a full pump's job, and it simply can't. And exercise 6, the one I told you to wait for, the one that matters more than any single movement on this list, the movement break habit. Set a reminder, any reminder, for every 30 to 60 minutes you expect to be sitting or standing still. When it goes off, you don't need the full routine, just 60 seconds, 15 ankle pumps, and a short walk to the kitchen and back is enough to reset your second heart for another half hour. Here's why this one habit outweighs the other 5 combined. A Mayo Clinic cardiologist made this point directly when the standing desk trend took off. Venous problems actually increased in people who switched to standing desks, not because standing is worse than sitting, but because people stood still without moving, and stillness, not posture, is the actual enemy here. You can do every exercise on this list perfectly once a day and still spend 22 waking hours moving your legs, almost none at all. The break habit is what closes that gap. Here's how it fits together across a week, so it's not just a list you forget by Thursday. Every single day, no exceptions. Ankle pumps whenever you've been still for 30 minutes, plus the movement break habit running in the background all day. Then, on top of that, 4 days a week, calf raises, heel-toe rocks or marching, leg extensions, and the calf stretch as one 8 to 10 minute block, morning or evening, whichever you'll actually keep. At the 2-week mark, run both self-checks from the start of this video again, the symptom check and the color return check, and compare your own numbers to your own numbers. That comparison is the only one that counts. Before you start, a few honest safety notes, because leg swelling has one lookalike that needs a doctor immediately, not a video. If swelling shows up suddenly in only one leg, especially with redness, warmth, or pain that doesn't match anything you did, stop and call your doctor or go to urgent care the same day. That combination can signal a blood clot, And it's the one scenario where you do not want to exercise or massage the area first. Also check with your doctor before starting if you have a history of blood clots, a recent leg injury or surgery, an open sore or ulcer on your leg, or if you feel chest pain or shortness of breath at any point. For essentially everyone else, this routine is about as low risk as movement gets. It's the same type of movement hospitals use for patients who can barely get out of bed. Let's lock it in. Your calf is a second heart, squeezing blood back up against gravity every time it contracts. And when it goes quiet from sitting or standing still, that's the real mechanism behind the heavy, swollen legs so many people over 50 just accept as normal, even though research has tied how well that pump works to outcomes far bigger than how your ankles look by dinner. 2 self-checks told you where you stand today. Honestly, no shame attached, just a starting number. 6 exercises, ankle pumps, calf raises, heel-toe rocks, leg extensions, the calf stretch, and the movement break habit running underneath all of them. Train that second heart back into shape, with the last one mattering more than the other 5 combined. Not 3 exercises, not a vague list. An actual daily system built on real sources, not a headline percentage nobody can verify. 2 weeks, then retest against your own number, not anyone else's. If this gave you something more useful than another list of 3 random exercises, do 2 things. Subscribe. Well Past 50 publishes twice a week, always with real sources linked below, never with fear. And send this to the one person over 50 who's on their feet all day at work, or the one who always says their legs feel heavy by dinner. This could be the video that actually changes that, starting with tonight's self-check, not someday. Next up, the balance test that pairs perfectly with today's protocol. And in the comments, tell me your numbers from both self-checks. No judgment, just your honest starting line. See you in the next one.